eyewitness video from Caracas last night shows projectiles being fired into the air over the city skyline. Government officials told journalists that police were firing warning shots at unauthorized drones that were flying overhead. They say there was no confrontation and the entire country remains calm. Meanwhile, fears of a crackdown on dissent are growing. The Venezuelan government has deployed paramilitary units to secure the capital. The union representing Venezuelan reporters says at least 14 members of the media were detained in Caracas yesterday, including 13 members of international media organizations. The union says their communication devices were seized. All were later released except for one who was deported. All of this unrest is driving some Venezuelans across the border into Colombia. And that's where Jorge Barrera is taking our coverage this morning. He joins us from Cúcuta. Jorge, set the scene for us. What are you seeing and hearing about all the uncertainty that Venezuelans are going through right now?
Well, I'm here at the foot of the Simón Bolívar International Bridge that connects Colombia, where I am, to Venezuela. This has been the setting for some of the most dramatic scenes in the history of the tumultuous history of the Nicolas Maduro regime. You know, at some points in time, tens of thousands of Venezuelans crossed here daily, fleeing the economic collapse in their country. But the expected outflow of Venezuelans following the attacks over the weekend from the U.S. and Venezuela did not trigger the expected sort of outflow of people. Traffic here is at normal levels, but I did get a chance to speak with several Venezuelans yesterday who were crossing to and from Venezuela and Colombia, and some of the ones that I spoke to lived both inside and outside the country, Colombia and Chile, and they all shared one sentiment. It was guarded hope. Now, for those living inside the country, they're saying, you know, we're trying to get back to our daily lives. We've seen movies like this before. We're sticking close to home, but we are prepared for whatever comes next. For those living outside the country, it's waiting and watching. They want to return home, but they feel the country is not ready yet. They want to see the remnants of the Maduro regime swept away for what they hope and they say will be a more democratic Venezuela. But there is a fear that's shared among many that the attacks over the week, even though they said, you know, these were inevitable, it had to happen, they may have exposed fault lines in the country, and they worry there is a potential that factions in Venezuela could fall into armed conflict. They're hoping that peace will prevail, but they're waiting and watching. Susan?
You mentioned the remnants of the Maduro regime have to be swept away, is what some people are telling you, but the remnants are in power. I mean, the long-term governance of Venezuela is now in the hands of Delcy Rodriguez, a longtime ally of Maduro. She's the acting president. So what are we learning about her prospects and what people feel about the prospect of stability inside Venezuela?
Well, there's a lot of conflicting speculation as to who actually is in power in the country. Is it Delcy Rodriguez, or is it the others who hold their own poles of power, like Vladimir Padrino, who's the defense minister? The Venezuelan military holds a lot of sway, a lot of power in how Venezuela is governed and the future of Venezuela. There's also Diosdado Cabello, the interior minister. Now, he released photos of himself last night patrolling Caracas with a group of uniformed and armed men. And on top of this, you have, U.S. President Donald Trump saying he runs Venezuela. But there's also Maria Corina Machado. She's the spiritual leader of the Venezuelan opposition, winner of the Nobel Peace Prize. And she was on Fox News last night, and this is what she said.
Well, first of all, I'm planning to go back to Venezuela as soon as possible. As I've always said, Sean, every day I make a decision where I am more useful for a cause. That's why I stayed in hiding for over 16 months, and that's why I decided to go out, because I believed that at this moment I'm more useful to our cause, being able to speak out from where I am right now. But I'm planning to go as soon as possible back home.
Machado would add another element to what is apparently an already volatile mix in the country. As you may remember, Machado led a campaign in Venezuela in 2024 that that many observers believe toppled Maduro at the ballot box when she backed Edmundo Gonzalez for president. And many observers believe that, Maduro only held on to power through fraudulent means. Now, I did speak with a Venezuelan retired history teacher who still lives in the country, and he told me it may take months before the future of Venezuela actually becomes clear. Susan?
At least months, for sure. And Machado's return would be quite an historical moment, wouldn't it? Thanks, Jorge.
Thank you.